Hi, my wonderful crochet friends. Today's tutorial is this star-shaped snowflake. It has popcorn stitches, granny sets, and along the edge it has chains with picots, single crochets. It's a lot of fun. And I hope you all are having a really great holiday season. And I'm really excited to teach you all how to make this. So this pattern, I designed this pattern so you can use this as either an ornament or a coaster. So if you use, say, a Super Saver yarn or a thicker acrylic or bulkier yarn, then this project will be big enough to make as a coaster. So you can make this as a set for holiday themed coasters to give away as Christmas presents, and you can make it to hang on your Christmas tree. So I wanted to give you all a look at what it would look like if you made this pattern in, say, another yarn or another color. So this yarn here, this yarn is LionBrand Mandala yarn. It's Mandala Sparkle. It is a thinner yarn. I believe this yarn is a number 3 acrylic yarn, and it's definitely a thinner, softer, stretchier yarn. It's very, very pretty. So this is just one of the colors that is in one of the mandala skeins. And this one here is Premier Worsted. And this is a category 4 weight yarn. Very nice. And this yarn here that we are using for our coaster, this is RedHeart Super Saver Metallic. And with one skein, it comes with 2 balls, a total of 255 yards. And if you flip it over, you will see that it is a medium 4 weight, and it is 98% acrylic, 2% other fibers. And I believe the 2% other fibers is the Tencel Metallic. And it is machine washable, and it says on gentle cycle, and it is in the color white. So this is the yarn that I will be teaching in the tutorial, just because it is a bigger, thicker yarn, and I think that would be great for learning how to see the stitches really, really well. So for this pattern here, for this yarn, we are going to use an I-9, if I can get that to focus in. This is a I-9 5.5 millimeter acrylic hook. And this hook is just a little harder to see the numbers because of the sparkles. But this is a Boy Brand Sparkle acrylic hook. And for these 2 patterns here, for our smaller snowflakes, I used a 4 millimeter crochet hook. For our supplies, we will need our yarn, a pair of scissors, a yarn needle that will fit the size of our yarn, and our crochet hook. To begin, we will need to make a magic ring. So I take my yarn and I just kind of twist and roll a loop up. I insert my hook, I yarn over, and I pull through that loop. And then I begin row 1. So for row 1, we will chain 1. And in this ring, we are going to make 10 single crochets. So I will go into the inside of that loop, go up, yarn over, pull it through that loop and up, and then complete the single crochet. And we need 9 more for a total of 10 single crochets. So we have our 10 single crochets. We will take this yarn tail and we will just pull, and it will squeeze that together. We will just pull it apart and we will look for our first single crochet. So here, this right here, that should be our chain 1. Right here is our first chain for our first single crochet. So we will just yarn over and pull that through and then slip stitch. For row 2, we will chain 3. This chain 3 does count as a stitch. This counts as our first double crochet. In the same chain, we are going to make 2 double crochets for a total of 3 double crochets. So this counts as 3 double crochets. We will now chain 1. We will skip the next chain and work directly into the next. And we are going to repeat our 3 double crochets. So we will skip 1 and go directly into the next chain and make 3 double crochets. And now we will repeat. So we will chain 1. We will skip 1 chain and make 3 double crochets in the next chain. And that is our repeat pattern. Go ahead and continue and finish this row, and I will meet you back at the end. So I am at the end of row 2, and after you make your last granny set of 3 double crochets, you need to chain 1, and now we will slip stitch join in the 3rd chain. Usually we slip stitch join in the first double crochet, but because this chain 3 counts as a stitch, we will act like it is. So that means we need to slip stitch join into that 3rd chain. So we have 1, 2, and here is that 3rd chain. And we will slip stitch join. For row 3, we will chain 3 again, and this chain 3 does count as a stitch. So what we will be doing is we will be working into each granny set. So for this row, we will not be working in between the granny sets. We will be working only in the first double crochet and the 3rd double crochet. So in the same chain here, for this first double crochet, we have our chain 3, which acts as a double crochet. So now we will need to make 1 more double crochet in the same chain. So we'll go back into that same chain that we slip stitch joined into, that 3rd chain, and make 1 double crochet. We will now chain 1. We will skip that 2nd double crochet and work into the next double crochet. So in the next double crochet here, we will put 2 double crochets in that chain. And now we will repeat this around. So in this next granny set, we need to make 2 double crochets in that first double crochet, chain 1, skip the middle double crochet, and make 2 double crochets in that 3rd double crochet. So we will skip 1 chain here and go directly into that first double crochet and make 2 double crochets. Chain 1, skip 1, go into that next double crochet and make 2 double crochets. We will skip 1 chain and go directly into the next chain. 2 double crochets. Chain 1, skip 1, go into the next, make 2 double crochets. And that is what it looks like so far. So go ahead and finish these last 2 sets of granny stitches, and I will meet you back at the end of the row. So we are at the end of row 3. After we make our last 2 double crochets, we do not chain 1. We just go directly into the next set. In this chain 3, this acts as a double crochet. So we need to slip stitch join in the 3rd chain. For row 4, we need to get over to our next space here in between the 2 double crochet sets. And in order to do that and have a nicer, cleaner look, we are going to slip stitch over. And this is row 4. So instead of chaining 1 or 2 or 3, we are just going to go directly into the next chain and make a slip stitch. We're going to go into this space here and slip stitch. Now we will chain 3 to begin row 4. And our chain 3 does count as a stitch. So in this space here, we need to make our popcorn stitches. And this chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So here we are. We were right here. We slip stitched over, and now we are in this space right here. We chained 3 for our first double crochet, and now we need to make our popcorn. And in order to do that, we need 4 double crochets. And since this counts as a double crochet, now we only need 3. And since this chain 3 counts as our double crochet, we are going to need 4 more double crochets to make our popcorn. So in the same space here, we are going to make 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we technically have 5 double crochets. We will pull this loop up and remove our hook. And because this chain 3 counts as a stitch, we need to go into the 3rd chain, insert our hook, insert our hook into that loop. We will pull that loop down, pinch right here, and now we're going to grab that loop and pull it through that top of that chain 3. And there is our popcorn. So now we need to chain 6. So we have our chain 6. We're going to go into this space right here, in between these 2 double crochet sets. So right here in this space, we will insert our hook and we will make 1 single crochet. We will chain 6. In this next space, we will make another popcorn, but this time we need to make 5 double crochets. So we'll go into that space and make 5 double crochets. Pull our loop up. We will go into the chain of the first double crochet. Insert our hook in that loop. Pull that loop, pinch, and grab that loop and pull it through the stitch. And now we repeat, so we will chain 6. We will go to the next space and make 1 single crochet. Chain 6. Go into the next space and make our 5 double crochet popcorn. That up. Insert our hook into that first double crochet. Insert our hook in that loop, pinch, and pull that through that top of that double crochet. And this is what our pattern looks like so far. So we are just repeating this all the way around. So go ahead and finish this row and I will meet you at the end. So at the end of this row, after you make your chain 6 and single crochet, we will need to make another chain 6 and slip stitch into the top of this popcorn. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we are going to slip stitch right here. That way it matches the other parts of the popcorns. Just tighten that down. For our next row, row 5, we are going to chain 1, and now we are going to make 6 single crochets around our 6 chains. So this chain 6 here, we need to make 6 single crochets. So we'll go into, like inside, so we'll go inside and around that chain 6 and make 1 single crochet. So we need 5 more. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 total. 6 single crochets. So here we are at that single crochet. What we are going to do is we are going to make a single crochet on top of that single crochet. So we are going to go into the chain and make 1 single crochet. And now we are back at another chain 6. So what we are going to do is we are going to make 6 single crochets around each chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now we are at our popcorn. And now we need to make a double crochet picot. So here's our popcorn, and here we are right here. So we are now going to chain 3, double crochet into the top of that popcorn. Then we'll make a picot, chain 3, and then begin single crocheting around that chain 6. So after you make your 6 single crochets, you will chain 3, yarn over, and now we need to find the chain for our popcorn, which is right here. So we will go into that chain and make 1 double crochet. We will now need to make a picot, so we will chain 3. And instead of slip stitching in that first chain, we are going to slip stitch into our double crochet. So here's our double crochet. So we're going to go down into that double crochet. Yarn over, pull that through, and slip stitch. Chain 3. And now we will single crochet around that chain 6. So we'll go into and around that chain 6 and make 6 single crochets. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm just going to move and adjust these single crochets. And here's our 1 single crochet. So we will go into that single crochet and make 1 single crochet. We are back at our chain 6. So now we will make 6 single crochets. And this is what it looks like so far. So now we are at our popcorn. We completed that 6 single crochets. We will chain 3. We will double crochet into the top of that popcorn. Now we need to make our picot. So we will chain 3. And we will slip stitch in that double crochet. We will yarn over and pull that through and complete the slip stitch. And I'm just going to pull and tighten it down. Chain 3. And begin our 6 single crochets around this chain 6. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Single crochet in that single crochet. And we will repeat. And you can adjust your single crochets if you want. Spread them out a little bit. So we are halfway done with row 5. Go ahead and finish up the rest of row 5, and I will meet you back at the end of this row. So we are at the end of row 5. This is where we started for row 5, and here I am here. So I just finished the last 6 single crochets. So once you get to this point, you are basically going to do the same thing that you did on top of each popcorn. So we will chain 3. And right here in that very first chain, we're going to make 1 double crochet. We will chain 3 for our picot. We will go into that double crochet. Yarn over and complete that slip stitch. Chain 3. And now we will slip stitch join in the very next chain. So this is the first chain of our first single crochet. So we will slip stitch join right there. I'm just going to pull this up, pull that down tight, and pull that up a bit so I can take a look. I'm going to readjust and spread out all my single crochets. And also, if yours is curling, I have tested this out. If you wet your project, just wet it real good, even with a little laundry soap, and don't rinse the soap out, and then just lay it flat, then your projects will not curve. It will stay exactly the way you want it to. It works great, I promise. And I know this pattern, you don't really need to do that, but just for future reference, if you make something that, like these pieces here, if they tend to want to curl or anything like that, get it wet with a little bit of soap. Lay it flat like this. Just lay it flat. And the heaviness of the water and the soap it'll help stiffen it up, and it will stop it from curling on you. So that's worked really great for me in the past. See, like this here wants to pop up. What I'll do is I'll just go to the sink, add a little bit of laundry soap, mix it up, dab it onto here, and I'll squish it like this. It'll stay flat. I'll lay it flat, give it a few hours, and it'll be fine. It'll be perfect. So I just figured I'd let you all know that. It's kind of like blocking without having to pin it. It works. So that's what I do. So now it is time to end our project here. So we need to decide, are we going to make this into a coaster, or, and it kind of seems like, it kind of seems to do better when I don't have it all squished together, like more so like that, I guess. So yes, you just need to decide if you want this as a ornament or as a coaster. And if you want it as a coaster, then all we need to do is clip this, weave in our ends, or if you want you want it like this, where you have like a handle to hang it up. So let me get this out of the way. Let me show you this. And these turned out great. I did not have to block these or wet these at all. And I didn't have to do that to this one either. These, actually I got 4. All 4 of these I did not have to wet block at all. I actually had to wet block another ornament that's coming up soon that I will teach. It's a photo frame, and all I had to do was I just had to wet the ends of the snowflakes. But you know, I will show you all that in the near future when I teach that tutorial. But I don't know why this one is wanting to do a little curvy thing, and I'm not really sure why. But these 4 are fine. These 4 do not curve at all. They're actually very very perfect. So right here, what I did was, when I ended right here, I pulled the yarn tail in the back. I threaded it with the yarn needle, and I just created a loop and then stitched it in over and over right here. That way, when you hang it, it's not attached to this part. I think that looks better. On this one, I had created a chain, and I created it right here on the tip of that picot. So it's totally up to you. You know what you want to do, what you think looks good. That doesn't look bad. Me personally, I like this one better. So let's go ahead and create a handle, so I can show you all how to do that. So we're going to need this long enough to create a loop, and this is the larger snowflake, so we're going to need a larger loop. So I guess I'm going to do about, this is about a foot. This is about 12 inches, a foot long. So I'm going to need a yarn needle that's big enough for this yarn. So I'm going to get this bigger yarn needle here. So right here, we slip stitched. I'm just going to pull it. And that's what it looks like. So I'm going to thread this yarn needle. Now, if you would, if you want to make this, then what you will need to do is you will need to go into this picot and join this yarn right here, and then create chains. So for this one, I think there was like 25 chains for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, oops, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And then I just took it and I just slip stitched back into the same spot here. Went right back into that same spot. That's not the yarn. Here it is. I just grabbed that working yarn, pulled it through that chain and slip stitched, and then I clipped it, and then these two yarn tails I just weaved in the back, and then it created the handle to hang the tree. And then for that blue one, let's see, I'm going to go right into this next single crochet here, because it's not a really nice complete seam here, so I want that to be a nice looking seam. There we go, that's better. So now I'm going to turn this around and look at what I got here. So here's my yarn end. So I'm going to go through that single crochet and through that next single crochet. So I want a loop. So I want to create a loop here. So I'm just turning it on its side. And now I'm going to go, let's see, into these single crochet loops here. But I want my loop to be bigger. So now we are basically going to go through these loops here. I'm just going to do this a few times just to make this tight. And then let's see, I can go ahead and can weave it in this way, I can weave it down, I can go down. That actually might work better this way. And you're just trying to hide it. That's all you're doing. You're just trying to hide it and secure it to where it doesn't unravel easily. So now I can hang this on the tree, and it won't disturb the tip of the snowflake. I like it. I like it a lot. I really, really like it as a coaster. I definitely like it as a coaster. So right here where we began, I'm just going to continue to weave this in through that circle there. And I kind of like that little hole, so I'm not gonna pull it real tight to close it. I'm just going to just gently continue to go into the circle without pulling it real tight. Clip it. And if you want your hole bigger, you can always, like if it's closed too much, you can just take the bottom of a crochet hook and just work it through to bring your hole back. And there you go. So now you can make snowflake ornaments for your tree. You can make coasters. You make all sorts of cute stuff. So thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. The subscription bell is right below the video. Hit the like button. And leave a comment. Let everybody know how much you enjoyed this video. And I will see you guys very, very soon with another tutorial. Bye-bye.